So the first thing I'm showing you is that I did use the Microcossus luteus culture, and I am flaming my candle. And if you see me look to the side, I am looking at the directions on the computer that's next to me. So I am opening that culture. It did take me a minute to get it open. I picked up the Tropic soy broth, and I am keeping the cap in the other hand. I'm taping my pipettes and I'm getting 1 milliliter of the soy broth. Well, I'm flaming the mouth first and then I'm getting the 1 milliliter of soy broth. And it did take me a minute to get 1 milliliter, but I wanted to make sure I was getting it exact. And I'm flaming the mouth of the culture again. And then I'm going to replace the cap. Next thing I did was dispense the contents of the pipette into the culture. And then I mixed it a little bit. And then I put the rubber cap on and I waited about 30 seconds. And this is me waiting for a little bit. And then I take the cap off and then I mix it again gently. And it's said to try to avoid air bubbles into the culture. Now I'm showing you the soy broth again and I'm removing the top and I'm going to flame it. And then I use the pipette to dispense everything that's in the culture into the soy broth. Just make sure I get every drop. And then I'm flaming the mouth again. And I'm going to replace the cap. It says screw the cap on to the point of tightness. So I do that and then I twisted it backwards to make sure it's just loose enough that the air can enter the tube. I'm writing the date and writing which culture I used onto the soy broth. This actually was, I think, the first step, but I didn't start with it. So now I'm just making sure that I write the date and what culture it is, and then I'm going to sit it in the tube. And this is me just showing you that I did all those steps. So for activities 2 through 4, I am making sure that I write the cultures I'm using plus the date on the tubes and the plate. So the first thing I'm doing is gently rolling the tube between my hands. I took the sterile loop from its package. I'm removing the reactivated culture and making sure I have the cap in my hand. Next, I am flaming the mouth of the tube. Making sure I flamed it good. And next I am holding the loop and inserting it into the broth at an angle while not setting the cap down. Then I am flaming the mouth of the tube again, and then I will put the tube back inside the wrap. And next I am taking the neutral broth tube, opening it, and I'm not setting the cap down. I'm then going to flame the mouth of the tube. Okay, and while holding the loop at an angle, I am inserting it and swishing it gently. Then I will remove the loop. And next I will flame the mouth of the tube again and then replace the cap. And while replacing the cap, I will make sure it's a little loose for the air to enter. And then I will put my loop into a disposable jar, which I filled with 70% alcohol, and I put it inside of a red cup. And then that will complete activity 2. So activity 3, I have my stirrer loop. Next, I remove the cap from the reactivated culture while not setting the cap down. I'm flaming the mouth of the tube. And make sure I flame it good. And then while holding the tube at an angle, I will insert the loop. And then I will flame the mouth of the tube again and replace the cap and set the tube aside in the rack. Okay, and next I am showing you the Tropic Soy Agar Slant, and I'm opening the cap. While holding it, I will flame the mouth of the tube. And at an angle, I am making sure to insert the loop all the way to the bottom of the slant without gouging it. And then I will do a fishtail movement. And I did do this for a while just to make sure that I get it all in there. Okay, so next I will flame the mouth of the tube and replace the cap. And then I will set the tube inside of the rack while leaving the cap slightly open, and putting the loop in a disposable jar, and that's the end of activity 3. For activity 4, I will remove the cap of the reactivated culture and flame the mouth. And make sure I flame it. And then I will take a stir loop and get the culture onto the loop. And then I will flame it again and replace the cap. And set the tube back into the rack. And the next thing I would do is take the petri dish and lift it slightly. The direction says not to remove the lid completely and do not set it aside, and to use the lid as a shield to protect against contamination. So now I will touch the loop gently to the surface of the agar, and I did kind of a zigzag back and forth motion like the direction stated without gouging the agar. And I made sure to show you that I'm doing it the correct way, and I also did it for like a minute or so while still reading the directions. So if you see my eye movement move over, I'm making sure I'm looking at my computer to read the directions. And then after, I close the jar immediately, and then it also said to turn it upside down for incubation.